Join me today as we talk about the horror movie The Witch. This is the Geek Cabal channel. My name is Bobbie, and today we're going to be talking about the horror movie The Witch. Came out several years ago, like the 2010s, like 2000 something. Really should have written that down. I apologize. But yeah, the main person in the movie would be Anya Taylor-Joy's character, Tomlinson, Tomlinson, who her family has been kicked out of the colony that they're part of. This is in like 1630s New England somewhere. Um, I might have missed it at the beginning as to why exactly they were kicked out. Because the dad seems to be a fairly pious individual, and so do the others. So, I mean, unless they were falsely accused of something. So, they leave and strike out on their own. And, yeah. So, then odd occurrences begin happening. The dad is the guy who played the Green Knight in the movie The Green Knight. I'm sure he's got other credits. That's what I know from off the top of my head. And I'll have to put his name up here because I don't have my notes here because I'm recording and it's after 4 o'clock in late November, so it's like mostly dark out already. And yeah, so they move away, and as they're there in their new their cabin they had to build and their little farm they've got set up, strange occurrences begin happening. And one of the big ones is that Anya Taylor Joy has the baby out near the woods, and their parents have told them to never ever go into the woods. So they're out there by the woods, and she's playing peekaboo, because how babies don't quite have object permanence. So, when you go like this, they think you've just disappeared. Well, she does that, and then one of the times whenever she does that, the baby's gone. So then you see that, yes, someone did indeed grab it, and I believe that they killed the baby and then used various parts for witchcraft. So as the movie progresses, it kind of leads you on to, well, are we dealing with witchcraft or not? It's got a lot of little side trips and things going over here and there. And you've got the family. There's the mom, the dad, the oldest sister, the oldest daughter. It's Anya Taylor-Joy. Then there's the twins, a boy and a girl. There's a brother between them and Anya Taylor-Joy. And then there's the baby. So one of their goats is a black goat they call Black Phillip. And the twins, kind of talk about talking to Black Phillip, and it seems like they're conversing with him a few times. Then you have the eldest son, who is trying to follow in his dad's footsteps and learn how to do everything, and tries to be the man of the house a few times. But yeah, so the baby gets abducted. Then the twins, the girl is like taunting Anya Taylor-Joy's character, like, I be the witch of the woods and stuff like this. But then Anya Taylor-Joy turns the tables on her and says that no, she's the witch. She's the reason that the baby's gone. And if the twins don't shut up, they're next. Now, she's saying all this in jest, but then as the movie progresses, more and more things begin happening. Eventually, the older brother goes missing, and we see that he's literally like, they go out to try to find the baby, he and Anya Taylor-Joy's character. And then the horse gets spooked, throws her. He takes off after this rabbit that they keep seeing. And he winds up in a house out in the middle of the woods with an attractive woman, convinces him to come inside, and, well, she's probably the witch. Then eventually he shows back up, and he's got a high fever, and he's sick, and Dad's got to go back to the colony to try to get medicines, and then the twins just kind of fall over and stop talking and everything, and act like they've been cursed, and they accuse Tomlinson, and it all just kind of goes around and around in circles. And she tries to tell the dad, like, no, no, it's the twins, like they're the ones consorting with the devil, it's the goat, and they talk like they're actually talking to the goat. And just kind of goes round and round. And then the boy kind of comes out of his weird state and starts rambling on some biblical stuff, and then dies. So then the dad is like, I'm getting to the bottom of this, after he tries to talk to Tomlinson. And he's like, look, I love you, you're my daughter, but if you've made a pact with Satan, like, you have to renounce him and come to the light here. Like, you're not gonna live with us if you're a witch. And she's like, no, Dad, it's not me. Like, it's the twins. I'm telling you, like, they talk to the goat. They claim to be the witch of the woods. Like, something wrong with the twins. And the mother is becoming increasingly hysterical as this is going on. So eventually the dad's like, well, I'm just going to put you all in the barn and lock the door. We'll sort things out later, I guess. And then overnight, a witch lands on top of the building and comes into the barn and starts doing something with one of the goats, and then breaks out, I guess, or they broke out. I'm not entirely certain how the door got broken down. The next morning, Tomlinson's trying to explain it to her dad, and he's like, I'm not having any of this. Like, someone flew into that barn. Yeah, right. And then somewhere in there, old Black Phillip kills Dad, just, gores him. And yeah, then the mom attacks Tomlinson, and defending herself, she ends up killing her. And the twins got it in there somewhere. And so it's down to just her. And so she stumbles into the house and wakes up, and it's the middle of the night. And she goes out to the barn, and the goat follows her. But then when she's out there, the goat transforms, and you see a person walking behind her with a low raspy voice, basically asking her, what do you want? Like, I can give you anything, just put your name in the black book. And so it's the devil offering to give her witch powers in exchange for her soul, basically. And then she wanders off into the woods naked and finds some women dancing around a fire, chanting, and then kind of like flying up into the air. And then she starts to fly up into the air. And so I guess she joined the coven, and that's where the movie ends. So, like I said, it's a very atmospheric movie, small cast. You got a few people at the beginning in the town council, but it's primarily just the family, with the one witch showing up occasionally. And you're not 100% certain if any witchcraft is even happening through most of the movie. And even if it is, you don't know what is actually happening. So it's really not until the last few minutes that you're like, oh yeah, no, it's totally real, and it's definitely happening. And this girl who had nothing to do with it by circumstance and the other witches has been driven to join them. So maybe that was the plan all along. I don't know. So a lot of questions at the end of this movie, but I still enjoyed it. Thought it was a good movie. I started to watch it one night, like a couple months ago, and fell asleep. But that's because I have sleep issues, not because of the movie. So when I got around to it, I started again at the beginning, and I think the only thing I might have zoned out on is what exactly happened to the twins, because I'm trying to recall it here. They obviously had to have been gone by the end of the movie. So I think the witch might have killed them whenever she was in there in the barn with them. I'm going to re-watch that part and double check. Should have done that before I started recording this video. Sorry, folks. But overall, I liked it. This was from before Anya Taylor-Joy became a more well-known name. So I'm sure it's a lower budget movie because it's single location basically, a cabin, a barn, all next to some woods, and then in the woods. and most of the cast would be basically unknowns because they're kids. The mom's also in other things. I don't know her name off the top of my head, but she's in several other things. She's in Prometheus as I don't remember which of the crew she was, but I know she makes it to the end because she's like one of Wayland's people, not just a rando scientist to make it all look good. He's one of his core people. So she's the one. She gets killed by the engineer. So she's the woman at the end who gets killed by the engineer, because I think she's the only woman there at the end other than Naomi Rapace's character, Dr. Shaw, and Dr. Shaw isn't killed by the by the by the engineer. She is instead killed by the incredibly ungrateful David. So yeah. Anyway, like I said, I thought the movie was decent. Probably 7.5, 8, somewhere in there. Looks good. Decently chilling. You don't know what the hell's happening through most of the movie. It's a good kind of horror movie like that. Thought there were competent performances all the way around. The music worked. Nothing like super standout. It's like, oh, that's really awesome, but they can't all be bangers. It's probably okay for like 13, 14-year-olds. Can't think of anything super objectionable, except maybe the very end, because towards the end, the nudity factor begins to increase. Like I said, Anya Taylor-Joy walks off naked into the circle. You don't really see anything as far as she's concerned, but when she gets there, the other women are all completely naked, and there you do see some things. And whenever the witch crashes into the barn towards the end, she's naked and old. So yeah, overall, I liked it. Decent horror movie. Don't know if there's anywhere you'd ever go with any kind of a sequel or anything, because you're probably not going to get Anya Taylor-Joy to come back, and that would be the only real connective tissue because everyone else dies. So yeah, it's an interesting look at witchcraft in the pioneer days, and there's probably some kind of hidden message about falsely accusing people, driving them to actually become the things you're accusing them of being, something like that. I don't know. I'm not much of a subtext guy on a lot of these things. But anyway, I think it's probably worth checking out. I did see it on Amazon Prime, so there'll be a link down in the description to it. But yeah, other than that, let me know if you guys have seen the movie. What do you think of it? Do you like these kinds of movies? Do you think these kinds of movies are dumb? Like, whatever you want to say. Let me know down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Sharing and commenting are the things that help us out the most. We always appreciate it. But that's about all I've got. So just remember, don't go into the woods.